Hi, I'm Angela Hart.
Oh, it's Robert.
My name is Frank from PK Move.
Today we're going to talk about breathing.
I'm going to be showing you some points on basic squat form, as well as other lower body notes.
We're going to be working on pushing, pulling, and spinal flexion and extension.
It's the first thing we do when we enter this world. It's the last thing we do right before we exit. If you use breathing appropriately, it can really help you with your parkour, with your power, with your precision, athletic ability, and just controlling your stress. The first breath exercise we're going to try today is called a 3-part breath. Place one hand on your belly and one hand on your chest. And what I'd like you to think of doing is breathing into your belly, your ribs, and your chest, and then exhaling from your chest, from your ribs, and from your belly. Repeat this for a couple repetitions, really getting a nice deep 3-part inhale. Feel the hand on your belly rise first, the hand on the chest rise last, and then the hand on the chest lowers first, and the hand on the belly lowers last. And that is your 3-part breathing. The second breath exercise for today is called box breathing, or square breath. So I want you to think about a square, and we're going to inhale for a count of 3, going up one side of the square or box. Hold for a count of 3, which would be going across the top. Exhale for a count of 3, which is going back down the opposite side. And then pause for a count of 3 as you go across the bottom. So with a soft gaze, hands just wherever you'd like them to be. Think of a 3-count inhale. Hold the breath for 3 counts. A 3-count exhale. And then pause for 3 counts in that quiet space between the exhale and the next inhale. And while you're doing this box breathing, just think about forming or drawing that square with equal sides, inhaling, holding, exhaling, and pausing. And that is your box breathing. I know
Robert
is working with you on squats and lunges, and Frank will be working with you on some pushing and pulling action. Our last breath exercise for today is going to really talk about how we can use our breath to improve our power. What we want to think about doing is creating rigidity in the torso, so our spine is protected and we maintain a higher amount of oxygen in the body. Think of this soda can. A soda can that is full can support a lot of weight, a lot of load. We're going to do what's called the 3B breath. Think of it as breathing in, bracing, and then breathing out. And that bracing is just a momentary holding of the breath, just until you get through the hardest part, or the sticky part of a lift or of a movement. Usually it's about 1/3 to 1/2 of the way through the full muscular action. If you're doing a push-up, you would inhale on the lower. You would brace by holding the breath for a moment as you push up to about 1/3 to 1/2 of the way, and then you would exhale the rest of the way. Now, if I'm lifting a heavy medicine ball, I'm going to inhale as I lower down. This is that muscular lengthening phase. As I take a hold of this 40-pound medicine ball, this is a lot of load. I'm full of breath. I'm going to brace, keep that nice rigid torso as I retain that breath for a moment, just until I get to the hardest part. I'm going to exhale fully, and then inhale as I return right back to where I started. Sometimes this is referred to as the Valsalva maneuver. Don't think about holding your breath through the full action. It's full inhale, momentary hold, and then exhale to complete the movement, and then inhale as you prepare for the next one. So that's your 3B breath. Breathe in, brace, breathe out. I'm Angela Hart. Thank you so much, and enjoy your day.
To start our warm-up, let's get into a QM position, and I want you to slowly walk forward, to the side, back, and side again. And do this a few times. Each time make it a bit smoother and a bit faster until you're moving around in a circle. This helps train your coordination. Then get into a stretch between the ball of one foot and the heel of the other, stretching out your hamstrings, and just walk from side to side. When you get over to one side, I want you to kick your foot out into a step vault and really reach out, and then kick it back into a deep lunge. And then do that a few times. Really make sure that when you go into your lunge, your hips, legs, and arms are all on the same line. And then walk it over and do the same on the other side. Now start in a crab position and rotate around into QM and back to crab a few times. You're really rotating your knees here, but you're also getting your core engaged. And now just some deep squat walks. This is flexibility and stretching for the butt and the ankles. A key element in good lower body form is the feet and ankles. So here we're going to start with toe raises. You can do these on stairs, on a 2x4, on a brick. Do these about 10 to 30 times each, facing straight, inward, and outward. The same goes for the heel raise. Make sure you're doing 10 to 30 of these. Don't bounce. Make sure that you're going up and down gradually. If you need, you can reach out and use a table or a wall for support. Good squat form starts with these heel raises, and you'll see that they're right above the ankles. And you want to be squeezing that, not knocking your ankles or heels together. One trick is to take a tennis ball and shove it up between your heels and squeeze it as you go up and down. This will work on activating your inner calf muscles as well as providing a challenge for your knees. You can and should also do these on one foot. Also with your knees bent, providing a slightly different structure. Okay, let's review the basic squat. It's important to keep your hips and knees open. Don't let the knees knock together or wobble at any point. Your knees face the same direction as the feet. It's crucial to sit your butt back into your heels when you squat, as if sitting down into a chair. Keep your back straight. Notice my knees are staying in relatively the same place. Squeeze your butt, and only when you come up, push your hips forward. Now that you've got the form down, let's go over some useful squat exercises. The ratchet squat helps teach you to activate at multiple depths, not just the bottom or top. When you get this down, it's also a fantastic warm-up. The deep squat is also a good warm-up and is great for developing ankle and hip mobility. Get as low as you can go and just hang out there for half a minute. If you're having trouble keeping your balance, you can hold a weight straight out in front of you. Use it to really work on ankle mobility and stretch the calves. Deep squats with a weight in hand are going to prepare you for parkour precision squats, where you're still seating back and squeezing your butt, but you are rooted forward in the ball of the foot. For this last squat exercise, put a medium-sized object between your feet and squeeze it as you come down, while still keeping your knees apart and over your ankles. This will help develop your adducting muscles as well as those on the inside of your calves. Moving straight into lunges now, you're going to want to adapt a balanced position. Your back leg, hip, and knee are straight up and down, and the front knee is just above your ankles, a little bit in front. Use both legs to push yourself up and down, keeping your knees and your ankles in line. Another lunge exercise you can do is with your foot up on a couch and going down onto the one leg and pressing back up. This is great for developing power and works as an introduction to single leg squats. Your hips, hamstrings, and butt are essential in squats and jumps, so do a lot of hip raises, going down for a count of 5 and up for a count of 1. You can do a similar exercise up on your knees where you lever back and forth. Keep your body straight along your hip flexor and just lean back and forth. You don't want to collapse in this structure. Slowly build up the strength to do it. Only do as much as feels comfortable. You can also do these with your feet flat on the ground. Provides a slightly different challenge. For the next exercise, you're going to drift your knees forward and lean the rest of your body straight back. This is a very difficult exercise, so approach with caution. You only want to go as far as you can go down and then back up. Notice how my knees are still over the ankles in line. Don't let your knees wobble or knock together. If you can go all the way down, that's great. Only do as much as feels comfortable. You don't want to collapse in this structure. You can combine these dynamically by trying to jump into a squat position. Now for the cool down, we're going to start with our thighs and our hips. Pull your knees straight up into your chest, let it down, turn it 90 degrees to the side and pull it up, down, send it back behind you, pull it up straight along your back. Make sure your knee doesn't drift out to the side, that they stick pretty close together. And for the last one, bring your foot up and just kind of push into it, get the hip mobility. We're going to stretch our hamstrings. Keep your back and legs straight and slowly lower yourself down. Get a feel for it. You don't want to push it. Just a little bit at a time, little bit each day. And gradually work your way all the way down to the ground. And roll your back up, roll your shoulders up, and relax. Now we're going to stretch our calves. Press your hands into the ground and your heels into the ground and just kind of walk it out. For our butt, we're going to sit down and step one leg over the other, pushing our sit bones into the ground and reaching around to get a good stretch. And lastly, we're going to do what's called the couch stretch. This is very good for the quads and the hip flexors and everything. Make sure your chin is right up against the back of the couch or chair and press straight up. My legs are going to be sore tomorrow, but that's alright. You get up, do a warm up, keep moving, eventually it'll feel good again.
For the warm-up, we're going to start with the shoulders with some shoulder dislocates. If you don't have a stick, you can use a towel. Do this 10 times with arms straight. Key thing to remember, the wider your grip, the easier it's going to be. The more narrow your grip, the harder it's going to be. Next, we're going to get the wrists with some wrist circles. Start with a closed fist and rotate clockwise and counterclockwise 10 times each direction. Now to hit the spine with some cat-cows. Enter into a tabletop position and begin arching and hollowing the back to loosen it up for activity. Do this 10 times. Next, we're going to do some side cat-cows to further mobilize the spine. Bring your shoulder close to your same side hip, then switch to the other side. Do this 5 to 10 times each side. And the final thing for joints is going to be neck circles. 5 to 10 times each direction. Next part of the warm-up is dynamic stretching. Starting at the shoulders, we're going to do the arm bar stretch. You want to resist a bit with the arm that's straight against the arm, pulling it toward the chest. Do this 5 to 10 times each side. Next is the tricep stretch. Bend your arm behind your head, grab the elbow with the free arm, resist the stretch a bit, pull the shoulder blades close to each other, and remember, 5 to 10 times each side. Next is the cauldron stretch. Bring your hands together, round out the shoulders, bend and pull with one arm while keeping the other straight and resisting. You should feel a pull at the shoulder blades while bringing your arms side to side. Be sure to alternate to each side 10 times. To finish off the shoulders, we're going to do handcuff stretch. Clasp your hands behind you, pull your shoulder blades back, and begin lifting your arms up and down. You should feel a stretch at your shoulders and chest. Do this 5 to 10 times. For the wrists, have your hands flat on the ground, pointing forward, to the side, then backwards, going in and out of the range 5 to 10 times each direction. Next is gorilla stretch. Have the back of your hand flat on the ground, bending then straightening the arm. If that's too easy, try to do it with a closed fist next. Now for the spine, you're going to lean forward, round out your back, grab your hamstrings, then lift your chest up, pulling your shoulder blades back and forth. Final stretch, spread your legs out and reach your arms over your head to stretch side to side. Time to move on to push-ups. First progression is going to be wall push-ups. For wall push-ups, extend your arms to your side, palms facing up, pull the shoulder blades back and in, keep them engaged, then place your hands on the wall and begin pushing. This is to ensure that you're stacking your shoulders properly for the push. Next is an incline push-up. Again, make sure that your shoulder blades are in place. Put your hands on the corner of the object, take a step back, then begin pushing. Make sure your chest touches the corner as you go down and that your body is straight. Next is a push-up negative. Again, shoulders active, core engaged. You're going to go down into a negative, keeping your elbows next to your ribcage, then shift to your knees to come back into the top position. This is very useful for developing the strength for the full push-up if you don't have it already. Next is a half push-up. Shoulders active, core engaged, elbows by the ribs, press down halfway, then come back up. Use this in tandem with the negative to get a full push-up. Making sure everything is properly engaged, go down either having your chest hovering over or just barely touching the ground, being sure to keep your body straight through the whole motion. If the push-up is too easy, then give tempo push-ups a try. A good one to start with is 5 seconds going down and 1 second coming back up. You can play around with different tempos too, such as 1 second going down, then 5 seconds going up. Final challenge for push-ups is a decline push-up. Have your feet on an elevated surface and execute the same push-up motion. The angle will shift more weight to your arms, increasing the difficulty. After this, we're going to move on to pulling, starting with inverted rows. Starting with half inverted rows, first, find a sturdy table, place your hands on top, pull halfway up, then lower back down. Just like the push-ups, keep your core and shoulder engaged. Next is a normal inverted row. Shoulders and core engaged, pulling yourself up to the board and then lowering yourself down. Next is to tempo it. 1 second going up and 5 seconds going down is a good starting point. A good thing to note about tempo is to go slow where you lack strength and go fast where you already have strength to convert it into power. Last challenge is the decline row. Find something to elevate your feet, keep your body straight, and pull up and down. For core extension, we're going to start with Superman ups. With your belly on the ground, you will arch your back, lifting your chest and legs off the ground with arms extended in front. Then lower back down to the ground. Next is the Superman hold. Like the Superman ups, you're going to start on your belly, then arch the body into the Superman position. Then, hold for a fixed amount of time before lowering back onto the ground. A way to keep yourself honest with the hold is by placing objects underneath your legs and arms while holding the form. You will know you're faltering if you touch the object. Now that we've covered extension, time for flexion. For core flexion, we're going to do hollow ups. For this, keeping your lower back on the ground, arms above your head, lift your upper back and legs off the ground. Next is the hollow hold. Same form as the hollow up, except you hold for a fixed amount of time. Good cue for this is to try and spot your feet the whole time before lowering back down. Just like with the Superman, you can place objects underneath your arms and legs to make sure you don't lose form. The section after this is going to be the cool down, so you can relax just like I'm not currently. Starting with the shoulders again, going for the arm bar stretch, this time relaxing with it rather than resisting. Hold each side for about 15 seconds. Next is a chest stretch. Hands on top with elbows up while lowering your chest down and shoulders engaged. You can even move around a bit to see if you can find some range that needs some stretching. Next is a variation of the handcuff stretch. Place your hands on top of an object behind you and lower yourself down into the stretch and relax while in it. Next is prayer stretch. Have a dumbbell or something similar in both hands, place it behind your head, and have your elbows on top of an object. Then, step back and lower into the stretch. Relax once in it. Now for the wrists. We're using the stretches from the warm-up, but rather than going in and out of the ranges, hold each for about 10 to 15 seconds. For the spine, we're going to do cauldron stretch minus the side to side to feel it more in the upper back. Next is baby stretch. Grab the balls of your feet and push. To get more of the upper back, round out the shoulders. To get more of the lower back, pull the shoulder blades together. Last stretch for the cool down is going to be upward dog. Have your hands flat, shoulders back and down, hips on the ground, and breathe.